And just once again, for everyone on the recording, we have arrived. Y'all, this is so exciting. As a collective, we have chosen the path of ascension and collective consciousness awakening. Like, this is a huge, huge deal. This is what so many of us literally incarnated for. We chose to come to the planet to help the collective awakening, to help ascend the collective consciousness, to help ascend the collective humanity in order to raise the vibrational frequency of the planet, in order to experience this multidimensional self within a third dimensional physical reality. And we're like, we have chosen this timeline. This is the biggest deal ever. I am just, I am beside myself. I brought coffee back into my diet this week as celebration because I was nervous there for a minute. But I am not anymore. I am so stinking excited. I am so lit up. So I've been talking about on collective energy updates for years now that, okay, we're going to do a little drawing. So here is Earth. And from an energetic lens, we live in a 3D reality. The beauty of living in a third dimensional reality is that we get to experience the material plane. We get to experience the abundance that this planet has to offer. We get to experience incredible food, beautiful scenic places, ranging from trees and lush forests to beautiful oceans and mountains and sand. And we get to experience physical touch and taste and smell. And we get to have this heightened sense of reality that in turn, it creates experience to evolve our soul. So when we chose to incarnate to the planet, all of us have unique soul contracts. Within our soul contracts, we have like sub-soul contracts. So there's gifts, there's spiritual gifts, there's family, there's ancestry, which is two totally different things that we're working within. There is karma. There are a million things within our soul contract that we signed on to experience within our unique human experience. From a collective lens, we are not here by accident. Having almost 100 women sign up for tonight's masterclass is not on accident. That is the power of this collective awakening that is happening. We collectively signed on to experience this shift, and not only experience it, but lead it by being awakened human beings during this time of great change on the planet, during this time of massive awakening on the planet, is in so many ways our soul legacy and our soul evolution. To experience this is even if it doesn't feel like it, we won the lotto by getting to be here. This is huge. This is the greatest evolution that we could have possibly signed on for our soul, and we get to experience it. So whenever you're feeling the density, the waves, the roller coaster, allow yourself to feel through and then drop into the reminder that you being here is not only a necessity, but a blessing. And this is something that your soul signed on to experience, and that is a really big deal. So for so many of us, we signed on to experience, for all of us on this call, we signed on to experience this massive awakening. So here is our 3D world. But within our energy, we are multidimensional beings experiencing the physical world. So we are energetic before we are physical. We just get to experience this physical world. But humanity has been long shielded in like this dark veil. Within this dark veil has essentially pushed consciousness into like the detriment of the physical plane. So there's been lack and scarcity and poverty, and the majority of humanity has been in this state of push and pull and struggle and hardship. And that is not why we have come here. That is not why we journey to this planet. That is not why we choose to experience the human realm. We're here to experience prosperity and peace for all. And that is what's written in the cells of our DNA. So our mission in coming here is to not only fully resurrect that experience, but activate it into the reality, into our physical reality, into humanity's collective frequency. So within this dark veil, so this is a visual that I've been shown for years now, but it's been coming through a lot ever since I announced this masterclass, and it's really, really stinking cool. So as individuals awaken on the planet, we can see these punctures that happen in this veil, and they start off small. But then if you think about if you were in a dark room and a dark bedroom, and 10 people came in with a lighter and just held their lighter up, it's not going to be very dark, right? It might be darker, but you could see the people in front of you, you could see your surroundings. So when we think about humanity being under this dark veil of illusion, of pain, of trauma, of scarcity, of lack, of limitation, of this complete severing from God's source, universe, spirit, I will refer to God versus universe, spirit, probably like that throughout the duration of this masterclass. Connect to whatever resonates with you. If that's God, that's beautiful. If it's spirit, if it's higher power, if it's the creator, if it's universe, whatever resonates. That severed, and then our consciousness was wiped. So imagine you're this multidimensional being with this ascended consciousness of the heavens. You see the multiverse within our universe. You see the realities within the realities, the constructs within constructs. You see beyond the veil, and you choose to come in and have a physical reality. Your memory gets wiped, and you're severed from the divine, and you're sent to a planet that has a veil of darkness surrounding it. That is what we were all thrown into. So if you have your moments of like, what the fuck is going on this planet, you are so not alone. But that is where we come in. It's our responsibility to remember. It's our responsibility to heal. And it's our responsibility to awaken. Because when we come back to the remembrance of who we are and why we're here, even if it's bits and pieces as we come along, we shift the planet, we shift the consciousness, and we shift the very reality that not just we as individuals, but the collective humanity gets to experience. We are constantly existing on multiple timelines in order for our collective humanity to ascend into the highest available timeline that we can experience in this now moment. We all have to wake up. And that is what we are in right now. And you might not be feeling rainbows and butterflies, and that is absolutely okay. Because with a massive awakening comes massive shedding. Because there's this ginormous shift in consciousness where you have been is not who you are. What you have been through is not who you are. The identities that you've been are not who you are. The stories that you've told yourself are not who you are. The realities that you've experienced are not your reality right now. The problem is that we constantly push ourselves back into this lower dimensional state of consciousness where we are trapped in the past. And then we stay in the construct of this dark veil because what has been is ruling our now. And that's when this has to end. So when you, oh, baby, I'm not yelling. I'm just passionate. It's okay. Sadie doesn't like loud voices. I gave her some CBD before today's call because I was really fired up and I knew that she was going to get real stressed about it. It's okay. We're good. Anywho, just a little disclaimer about my life with 4 highly sensitive dogs and a very intuitive baby. And then like my perfectly balanced husband. So God bless him. When we have these moments of remembrance, when we have these moments of shifting, it's not this beautiful, magical experience initially, because everything, the very fabric of your reality begins to tether apart, right? Because then you're seeing beyond stories that you've told yourself. You're seeing beyond the illusions, the beliefs, the self-talk, the way that you have physically perceived yourself and perceived your world, all of that begins to shift. And then you enter into the void space. And personally, I have a lot of planets in Pisces. So like the void is my like vacation home. I spend a lot of time there, very cozy, very familiar. But within that, when you're in the void, we can look at entering into this void space in two ways. It can be this like self-detriment and oh my God, I don't know anything, everything was wrong. What do I believe? Who am I? It can become this spiral, which spirals are not bad. We want to be in a spiral so that we can come out of it. We're stuck in a loop, then we're staying in the bullshit. But it can become like this very like stressful story, or it can be everything that I thought I was, or everything that I thought I wanted, or everything that I thought would be is falling apart. And I'm sitting in the void waiting to figure out who exactly I am in this life and who exactly I'm going to choose to be. And that can change every day, that can change every minute. You awakening is coming back to the remembrance that you are empowered. You are not victim to humanity. You are not victim to consciousness. You are not victim to what has been. You are not victim to stories. You're not victim to illusions. You're not victim to the systems, to the structures, to the frameworks that exist within this reality. You are an empowered soul who made the conscious decision to be here. And it's remembering that. No circumstance has power over you unless you give it that. So in this path of remembrance, in this path of awakening, we take a lot of ownership, right? And we come back to God, source, universe, spirit, angels, whatever resonates for you. Because if we were to be completely in charge of everything within our human experience, I think more heads would be imploding than not. And we don't actually have control. We have control over ourselves, but we don't have control over other people. We don't have control over the collective energy. We don't have control over every situation. We have control over our thoughts, our actions, and our words. How we speak to ourselves, how we speak to others, how we think, how we feel. That's all we have control over. So when we come back to this place of remembrance, we remember that, the simplicity in what we actually have control over. But when we come back to that simplicity, we no longer feel victim because there's so much power in releasing everything that you don't have control over. And that's an incredible shift that we get to experience. When you shift everything that you have no control over and hand it all over to God, source, universe, spirit, whatever resonates. And it's, I have no control over any of this, so please take it. And then you come back to this place of power. What do I have control over? I have control over my thoughts, my words, and my actions. It's a pretty beautiful shift. You get to only worry about you. So that's when our consciousness rises. That's when we get to experience life in this new way. Because if we are only having to worry about ourselves, and I mean, I'm a parent, I get it. We're also worrying about our kids and our husbands and our dogs and our cats. I can't have cats. However, I understand. But when we shift back to this space of what do I actually have control over, and it's very small, that's when we have this massive awakening. We realize how much energy we've been pouring into all these things that we actually have no say, no control over. And we start to pour all that energy back into ourselves. When we pour that energy back into ourselves, that's when timelines shift. That's when our consciousness expands and our frequency rises. Because when we incarnated to this world, we have an energetic blueprint, a soul blueprint, which you've all heard me speak about for many years now. That soul blueprint is like our fingerprint. It's unique to us. No one has the frequency or the essence of us. And our unique frequency and our unique essence and our unique being were chosen to be on the planet during this time. You are not here by accident. You were chosen to be on this planet at this now moment during this massive collective awakening happening through humanity. It is no coincidence that you are here. and you chose to be here. Everyone just take a deep breath into that. Because I know that when energy gets really intense, it's really easy to be like, what the fuck? And sometimes we need to remember that we actually chose to be here. Hey, no whining. Okay. Sadie wonders, what the fuck? A lot. So here we are. But this dark veil, so now there's these puncture wounds, and you can see through the puncture wounds, through the collective humanity right now, the greatest tool to shift the frequency on the planet is mass exposure. All of you have been around since 2020. Then you remember that was like a big piece of my energy updates was as we start shifting, there's going to be massive exposure. We're going to see the lies, the corruption. We're going to see the systems, the structures, the frameworks, everything beginning to fall. Because from a foundation perspective, if you were to build a house on super cracked foundation and the contractor was like, oh, it should be fine. And then there's a big storm and your house begins to fall. It's not really a great experience. So in order to shift into new earth, heaven on earth, the next golden age, whatever resonates with you, there has to be massive exposure. We have to know what exactly has been in order for humanity to evolve and consciously choose this higher timeline and consciously choose this new way forward. Because it's the same reason that we learn history in school. It's a matter of not repeating it. And there are a lot of people that have had their heads in the sand. And I've been shadow banned on Instagram for calling this out like 8 million times. But if we have our head shoved in the sand and we refuse to see what is going on around us, our consciousness is just constantly plummeting. And not only that, when we refuse to see the truth from an energetic lens, here's you. And when you begin to say like, no, 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 I'm not going to look, I'm not going to look, I'm not going to look, I'm not going to pay attention, I'm not listening, I'm not listening. What happens is then your energetic being shifts out. This dissociation is what has kept humanity stuck for millennia. Is that there has been so much that has disempowered humans from moving forward. So they split, they energetically sever. So when we are not, and I'm sure I'm like a broken record at this point because I've been talking about wholeness for so many years. But when I talk about wholeness, this is what I'm talking about. We're no longer severing from self. Our emotional, physical, mental, spiritual, astral, quantum, conscious and unconscious beings, aspects of self are all embodied into oneness, into wholeness. When we act from a space of wholeness, we are then connected from our crown chakra to the heavens. That is when we receive. That is when we are open to experiencing the massive abundance, the infinite abundance, the unlimited support that we have access to, is when we come back to a place of wholeness. And even the monks talk about how you consciously choose this every single day. It's not like, okay, I've clicked into wholeness. I'm like, I'm good to be back on my bullshit. It's every day. It's every day you're catching yourself when you're shifting out, when you're not coming from a place of integrity or embodiment, or you're avoiding what's right in front of you, or you're dipping into those low frequencies. It's catching yourself, realigning, and trying again. And that is the path of the humanity. So that is the path of humanity, excuse me. So when we've had this severing for so long, it's very easy to control the human race when everyone is severed from self. So slowly but surely, there's been this awakening, this coming back. So now this dark veil has all of these puncture wounds. So again, I've been channeling for years about this, and I am so excited by the visual that I got last night. It was like 2 o'clock in the morning, and I was like, oh my God, I cannot forget to talk about this tomorrow. So we can now look at this dark veil that once was holding the human race in captivity of lack and scarcity and disillusion, is now like a very torn to pieces cheesecloth. So the visual that I got last night was this mass array. I have chills all over as I'm talking about this, of angels. And it was as if humanity was pushing up and all of this angelic light was pushing in. And I really hope that I'm doing a good job of describing this, because the way that this came through brought me to tears. From an energetic lens, if we did not consciously choose this timeline as a collective humanity, it wouldn't have been many more generations of humans on this planet. There's been so much damage done, and we had to ascend as the human race. And we had to come back to the belief that we are stronger together, and that while we only have control over ourselves, we are all connected through universal oneness. And we are in that right now. And this is a really big fucking deal. And I am so excited. Again, I've serviced like thousands of DNA activations and healing sessions over the years. And like, it was for this, like this ridiculous chart that has so much energy and intention and love behind it. It was for this, like, it was for this moment that my angels came through and like knock, knock, knock on my third eye to show me this. And it was just like, holy shit, like we did it. Like we put aside the intense density pushing on us, and we put it aside long enough to remember who the fuck we are, and we get to move forward. Like the world that we are creating, not only for if you're a parent, if you want to be a parent someday, like if you just want to leave a legacy for your nieces or your nephews or your family in whatever way, like you get to now. We are going to see all of the systems and all of the structures and all the frameworks that have kept humanity sick and small and lost and confused and severed from self and from their God, source, universe, spirit. We are going to see all of that crumble. And we are going to see humanity rise. And this is the moment that we have waited for. There are so many of us that have made so many incarnations to this planet in a desperate attempt to experience this, and we are here now. Like, we get to leave a better world. And that's a big fucking deal. So this is just so stinking incredible. And from an energetic lens, this is where it gets really fucking fun. Like if you've been doing the work, you've been doing the healing sessions, you've been doing the meditations, you've been doing all the things, like we get to experience the world in such a different way now, that we get to experience rapid healing that sticks. Because for so long, when you're existing in such a dense world, and then you do a healing session or you do an activation, it's almost like a chiropractic adjustment where you feel amazing, but then you're like, I need another. Like, I need another, because we just lived in such a dense world that the shifts held, but the impactfulness faded. Now that we're shifting into this higher dimensional experience, this higher frequency on the planet, we get to hold our frequency without this like massive intrusion from collective energy, because that's how it's felt for so long, where you get this healing session or this activation and you're like, holy shit, I feel on top of the world. Like I remember who I am. I feel my energy. I feel my essence. I feel my magic. Miracles are happening. Abundance is happening. Life feels so good. And then life happens. And it's like the intensity of the planet just didn't always support the holding and the rising that comes with healing. But from this collective shift that we are in right now, from this awakening, we are not going from this like magical healing session to this like barely third dimensional consciousness of a human race. Like that is rising. So now we get to experience the multidimensional being that is us within the wholeness of our body. And we get to transcend and ascend. And this is why we're here. Like, this is so exciting. So, for everyone who's done sessions with me, I am so excited because I've been like in another world since giving birth. And I've been doing a lot of work on my channel, a lot of work on my energy. And it's like this shift came in last week, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so ready to get back to work. I'm so excited because it's like, being in a space of service, my intention is always to serve from the highest place of integrity while maintaining my frequency. And the world's been really fucking chaotic. So like holding my frequency's been a little tricky with a baby who doesn't really need sleep. But like, we have arrived. We are in the collective awakening. This is so, so huge. And it's not going to be all rainbows and butterflies. There's still like millions of people that need to wake up. However, there's going to be a ton of disclosure, a ton of truth being exposed. We're going to see the fall of like the thousands of different like cabals that are laced within layers and layers and layers, the systems and the structures and everything that has kept like this teeny tiny group thriving while the majority has been like just treading water. We're going to see this massive shift where there is peace and prosperity for all the soul-filled beings. Do not for a second think that every single human on the planet has a soul. Absolutely the fuck not. And as more and more comes to light, you're going to see that there is a very elite group that sold their souls and or never incarnated with one, and they are going to be exposed, and we are going to see the shift. The light was always going to win. It was just a matter of time, and it was a matter of time, frequency, and consciousness, and we have arrived. If you've been following along for many years now, you might also remember that I forecasted this really big awakening being through like 2028, like the intensity of it, where there's a ton of exposure and a ton of shifts and a ton of crumbling. And within that, so many people are waking up. So if you look out your door and you're like, oh, collective energy is a little fucking weird, don't let that shift your belief in where we are going. Don't let that shift your inner knowing and where we have arrived to. Don't let that shift your perspective and your remembrance of who you are and why you're here. This is the time to anchor into wholeness, into empowerment, and into your unique soul blueprint. Because you are now the frontline worker from an energetic lens. You are leading the charge. And it's your responsibility to do your work, to come back to a place of empowerment and embodiment, and to maintain your frequency. Maintain and rise. We are no longer dipping. We are no longer giving into the stories of lack and scarcity and confusion and limits and smallness, because that is what has been. It's not what is. You live in an infinite universe that is constantly opening for you if you ask for it to. You live in an infinitely abundant universe that is always willing to give to you if you are open to receive. You are constantly and always supported by angels and ancestors and the highest ascended masters channeling through as energetic beings to support you. You are never alone in this life. You are constantly guided. All you have to do is ask. And that is where we are going. That is the belief that we're anchoring into. That is the new story. Okay. In honor of me staying true to my word and not keeping you all here for 3 hours, throw all your questions in the chat. I'm going to see how many I can answer in the next like 10 minutes. And then I was like really tossed up. If you all caught on, it said like a mystery masterclass because I was like, I don't know if everyone's going to need a healing or an activation or like what the good word's going to feel like. So I was just going to drop in and see what we need. And I still don't have clarity. So everyone ask questions and then I'm just going to blast open my channel and we're going to do whatever God, source, universe, spirit, and angels intend for us to do tonight. While everyone's dropping questions in the chat, I'm going to plug this in here real quick because then, as you all know, at the end of sessions, I will never pull you out of a session. I think it is the biggest disservice that we can do as energy workers is to be like, all right, session's done, come out of there, and like throw in the chat everything that you're experiencing. Absolutely not. When you drop into session, so this is how I always envision my clients, especially when I do group work, is this tree of life that is golden. And as each of you drop in, it's like this golden sphere of light on your own branches. So you're getting all of the energy from the roots. You're getting all of this support. You're getting all of this light. When we complete the group session, it's like all those spheres just shift off the tree, and everything that you have gained in that sphere of light is only for you. So when I finish a session, I will let you know this session is complete. We will talk again so soon, and bye for now. And I will end the call. And the reason for that is so intentional. It's so that you can take what you need, you can integrate, you can drop in, you can receive, you can sleep, you can do whatever it is that you need to do. And I will always have my DMs open or my email. I will admit that like I'm really not good with emails. It's not my strong suit. I have residual corporate trauma. So if you ever want to chat, slip into my DMs on Instagram. I will also admit that sometimes I mentally respond and I don't actually hit send. So those are my two like toxic traits I'm just going to put out there now that we got past that. Always feel free to send a follow-up message. You know, mom life. But once we are complete, I'm going to just end the Zoom and then you all get the replay to keep forever. Download it. Like as soon as you get the email, download it to your computer because we have Zoom deleting after 30 days because they yelled at me too many times. I don't do well with being reprimanded, but I couldn't end my subscription. So we just delete everything after 30 days. So delete or download the recording as soon as you get it. And you all get exclusive access to the Black Friday specials that I put together because as I was tuning into the collective energy more and more, I was like, everyone needs support. And I am getting like more quality sleep and I can be supportive. And I found a sitter that I like, which is a really big deal because I have trust issues. Anywho, with that, you all get a coupon code, $100 off of, I'm opening up 20 sessions. You can book as many as you want, and you get to take $100 off of every one-on-one session, 50% off all master classes that I've already run, and 50% off the Mama Refresh. And you all get exclusive access to that for the next 2 weeks. So if you buy out all the sessions, then it's just for you gals. No one else gets access to it, and that's totally fine. And that'll all be in the email, but I figured I should preface that before I totally forget because I always forget to share these things. And this is a really, really fun one. Are there ways we can support our physical bodies better to hold the energy expansion and rising? Yes. As always, grounding. And like, I understand that grounding can seem whatever comes to mind. However, the benefit of you unplugging, leaving your phone, leaving your computer, leaving anything that is like bringing frequency into your frequency, setting that aside and sitting, laying, walking, putting your hands on the earth, like the recalibration that takes place and the activation that takes place because the universe is channeling through nature and nature is infinitely abundant. There's never like a lawn that is like, I can't let my grass die this winter because I don't know if it's going to come back. No tree is like death gripping onto their leaves. Like, I don't know. Like If there is anything that we can learn from nature, it's that it's infinitely abundant and we are infinitely abundant because we are nature. So whenever you need anything, go lay on the grass. I have actually pretty hilarious videos of my son when he's throwing like big feelings my way. They're like, why don't you go ground? He has 5 planets in Taurus. And he'll literally go out and just flop on the grass. And that's when I feel like I'm winning as a mom. I'm like, look at you. You have grounding practices down at 18 months. Incredible. Um, Always connecting with like elements in any way that that feels good. I have a lot of Pisces in my chart. I'm a big bath girly. That's my jam. Um, Connecting with elements will always be supportive of your body because it's an instant recalibration. Meditation, journaling, healing sessions, doing things that feel extremely supportive of your nervous system, because your nervous system is then from like a physical standpoint, like your nervous system is constantly sending cues to every single system and organ in your body. So when your nervous system has the opportunity to decompress and regulate, it's then sending this frequency of safety through your body. When every system in your body has the frequency and the message of safety, you're able to integrate and you're able to anchor. And that's always going to be supportive of your energy. Jamie, let me know if that, okay, you're seconding. Okay, I have to read faster. Currently going through the continued void and continually handing it over, the control, the wants and desires, everything handing it over with love guidance around being in that and feeling more empowered by it rather than lost by it. It's all perspective, right? Like everything in this human experience is perspective. So if we're constantly handing everything over to God, source, universe, spirit with the confidence that what is going to be given onto us will be greater than our wildest dreams, then we're not giving from a space of fear, or we're not handing things over from a space of like reluctancy, right? Like if it's like the winter and you see someone that really needs their coat and you take your coat off and you're like, but I'm going to be cold and I don't know what's going to happen. And this is my favorite jacket. And then we hand it over and we're reluctant, right? It's like we're already anticipating a negative outcome. So what happens sometimes is when we're sitting in the void and we're seeing all these things that are overwhelming us or scaring us or making us feel uncomfortable in a not like empowering and expansive way, or we're handing things over being like, all right, God, like I'm gonna hand the situation over to you, but like you better fucking return on it, you know? Like when we think about it from energy, if we're always coming to it with like, I'll give you this, but like, what are you gonna give back to me? There's not the expectation that everything is going to come back to you tenfold in the most positive, abundant, miraculous ways. It's the expectation that there might be a return, but there's a lot of question around it. So then that's inevitably going to breed more questions and more reluctancy as well. So really checking with yourself, like before you are sitting in meditation or your prayer or whatever practice you're sitting in, and being like, okay, am I handing this over to God, source, universe, spirit from a space of confidence or reluctancy? And really checking your energy first, because, and like, we're all guilty of this. Like, I have absolutely been like, all right, God, I'm gonna let go of control, but like, come on, I got your number. You know, like we've all been there where we're like, we're trying to control, releasing control, which is like probably a really big lesson in and of itself. But when, oh, there we go. Uh, when we come from a place of like integrity and checking ourselves, being like, all right, I don't have control over this situation, this outcome, this experience, and I'm aware of that. And it upsets me. And I'm going to feel through that because it bums me out. And then you feel through it. And then you come back to it and you're like, all right, I'm ready to hand this over because I'm confident that God, source, universe, spirit has my back. I'm not here to struggle. I'm not here to be stranded, and I'm not alone. And I have the confidence in that. That belief is stronger than me feeling bummed about this situation. So I'm going to breathe into that confidence. I'm going to breathe into that unmatched, unlimited support. And I'm going to trust that. And then I'm going to hand this over. Don't sit in the void being like, I got to get rid of everything and hand everything over and like not processing, because then that's when there's like the reluctancy or like the frustration or like feeling like you're floundering. So take your time through the shifts, because allowing yourself to feel through things, that is the expansion. That is the activation. That is the quantum leap. Like don't worry about what's going to happen when you hand something over. Focus on the empowerment of trusting God, source, universe, spirit, your angels so much that you get to have support and you don't have to deal with it all. Does that answer it? Okay. Good deal. Lots of old hurt rising to the surface, feeling so much rage. Any tips on moving through? Hit things. Personal. I'm a big like smash fists into pillows kind of girl and scream into them. And bonus points if you have one of those places in town that you can just go like rage and break things. That's some fun stuff. Axe throwing, also love doing that. Very empowering to have a giant axe in hand and hit a target. I don't know if these are like healer tips. However, that's what works for me personally. But like moving through rage, I feel like the like love and light, like fuck that. It's not all love and light. Like we're moving through the most massive awakening on the face of the earth that humanity has ever experienced. And there's a lot of dark shit being exposed. Like, we're not going to be love and light all the time. Are you fucking kidding me? No, there's a lot of rage. There's a lot of unexpressed emotion. There's a lot of ancestral and lineage rage that then just moves through us because we are the conduits. The we are the transmuting agent, not only for us, but for our families, for our lineage. Like we are moving through so much collective rage right now and collective grief. It is completely understandable if it's all coming up. And like when there's a collective thread, think of it like this. So like here's the collective frequency of rage, right? And it's like a magnet and it's ushering out all of this suppressed rage in your body. So all of a sudden you're like, holy shit, like I haven't thought about this in a while, or like I haven't felt through this, or oh, I pushed this way far down, and then everything starts coming out. You are going to feel a million times better expressing what wants to come out than continuing to do the disservice to yourself by shoving it back in. Feelings are like going poop. It's better out than in. And that is my quantum healing advice today. That is the path of motherhood, is that. But on a very real note, find some way to express your rage, be it like hitting pillows, going to a place that you get to hit things. That is really fun. Like grabbing your girlfriends and going to a rage room. Very fun. Like finding a channel and then utilizing that channel, because then what you're also teaching from an energetic lens is you're creating an energetic imprint that when rage comes up, I have this channel to go to. Because when we are starting to feel like a lot of unexpressed emotions, then it can be really overwhelming if we feel like we're just having to sit with them. Because like, yes, there are things to sit with, right? Like processing through memories or emotions or traumas in controlled settings with healers, with therapists, with support systems. Yes, that's an amazing thing. And you need a channel to go to. You need your brain to then connect, have that like somatic connection with your body when you start to feel these big emotions come up, and for your brain to be like, we use this channel. Like I'm having a lot of rage come up. When I feel a lot of rage, I scream into pillows. I'm having a lot of sorrow come up. When I have a lot of sorrow come up, I sit in the bath and journal. I'm having a lot of fear come up, I lay in the grass. There needs to be like this neuro connection so that your body and your mind are constantly in communication, because when that severing comes in is when we disconnect, and that's when it's like our energetic body separates out of our physical experience. So we need to be harnessing those moments to hold in the oneness, the wholeness, the energetic embodiment. So when you then create this like connection of like, when I feel this, this is what I do, then your body is able to process through feelings that come up so much faster because there's an outlet. So find something that's going to like help you release that and then anchor into that when you need it. Does that feel good? Okay. Second Hannah's cue, add grief. Jamie, let me know if that response covered yours too. We'll just overcome sadness. We'll just overcome me. I'm finding it hard to reconnect with what it is. So if sadness is just overcoming you and there's not like a connection. Okay, I see you typing. I'll wait a second. But like, just this is like important for the group too. When something overcomes you and you're sitting with it and there's not like a memory or an experience or something that comes up, that is typically a collective hook. And I've dealt with this long enough to know that like collective hooks are really fucking intense and they're not your responsibility. Like unless there's sometimes like collective hooks will come in and they'll mirror something to you and then you clear it out, and then in that you do collective work because you clear that out, so that clears out the hook, so then that creates clearing for the collective frequency. Sometimes that can happen. For the most part, like if you just feel overcome by something and you're like, there is nothing coming up, then that's a collective hook. So typically what I do because this happens a lot doing collective work, so I'll drop in at the end of like whenever I'm doing, especially after astral projecting at night or like lucid dreaming, typically in the morning, I just do a scan. I drop into my meditative eye and I see like my energy. I pull apart the layers of my body. I scan and I see like the hooks or the tears or the binds or like anything. And I go in and clear them out. Denounce energy, demand things to be removed, command things to be removed. Like, remember, the power of your words is in your control. When you say no more to something, it no longer has power over you. So being very aware and moving through like that energetic channel to see what's there and then clearing it out. And then calling angels, ancestors, archangels, ascended masters, whomever you feel the most connected to, and asking for support in like mending any tears in your energetic field. But just like without knowing the entirety of it, that sounds more collective. And like there's a lot of weight, like even if you go in and you're like, I don't see any hooks, like there's a lot of waves of grief right now and sadness through the collective frequency. So being an intuitive, being an empathetic human being, like you are going to feel that too. So it's also just being like very aware and conscious of what's yours versus what's the collective that you're feeling. Does that feel good? Okay. Any other questions? Of course. Comments? Oh my gosh, Sabina, love it. Angry music to dance crazy too. I love that. Just throw on like some heavy metal, just headbang. Just like start moshing in your room. That would be so epic. All right. Any questions, any comments, anything that you want to throw in the chat before we drop in? How has this resonated for you all? I feel like I came in really hot. I was very excited about today. feel like maybe I should start doing like an energy update masterclass like every other month. I probably can't do it monthly, but I could probably do it every other month. Would that be helpful for you all? Doing more of these? Let me know. Because as much as I loved writing my energy updates. That was a good run too. It was like a couple years. But I take those so serious, so serious. Like Pat would get home and I'd be like, shh, don't talk to me. Stay inside. And I'd come back in like 4 hours later. He'd be like, what were you doing? Channeling an energy update. And I had a lot of typos because I was typing too fast. And I just took them too serious. But like jumping on video, I can't clear alt delete. Like just refer to feelings as poop. It is what it is, you know? The show goes on. So maybe this is what we need to do. No filter. No filter energy updates bi-monthly. With breath work, everyone. So Katie Ward, using her married name. If you have not, Katie, can you throw your camera on for a second so everyone can see your gorgeous face? Katie has been one of my best friends for years now, and we've been through a whole lot of life together. We're both moms, we're both boy moms. And I was doing breath work with Pat. We're doing couples breath work with Katie when we conceived Peyton. And she's one of the most magical healers on the face of the earth. And she's creating a beautiful retreat center. Oh, we're co-sleeping mamas too. We just always have our boys just tucked in. Except Peyton, he just tackles me now. Like he hit like 14 months. Now he's a year and a half and we don't snuggle. He just body slams. But Katie's also creating a retreat center in Portugal. So she is like living fully off grid and is just this like magical, whimsical, miraculous breathwork healer, like in the jungle. Amazing. We've been kicking around an idea of doing like a healing breathwork combo, which we did a couple years ago. So maybe we need to do that again, Katie. Oh, all right. So dropping in for, we're going to see what comes up. I think how this is going to play out is, and again, like this is where I'm like, I think this is what we're going to do. And like I drop into my channel and like it's not what we're going to do at all. But the way that I'm kind of seeing this energy play out is that we are going to open up the space and it could be extremely activating for you or it could be deeply cleansing. Because healing and activating they're cut from the same cloth. It's just a matter of where we're at and like what kind of frequency we're working with. This doesn't feel like a DNA activation because DNA activations feel like they're in their own space, but we can activate frequency, we can activate energy without dropping into like the quantum field within light codex and like light DNA. This feels more like quantum field for like quantum healing and quantum releasing, like layers upon layers. Meditation, obviously. And we'll see. I might mute my mic and just work with you all, or I'll stay on and keep guiding. We'll see how this plays out. My invitation for you all is to get comfortable. If this is your first ever healing session, welcome to this magical world. You're gonna feel like $1,000,000 on the other side of it. Get comfy, grab a blanket. It's like very common with healing sessions that our body temperatures decrease, I think, as we're shedding layers. There's such a shift in our energy that we can get really cold. Pillows, blankets, eye mask, whatever supportive for you to receive. And just releasing your mind, releasing the mental construct that you need to do anything. I'm giving you the giant permission slip and the big request to just be. You don't have to do anything. This space is for you to receive. This is all you need to do is just be. And I will actually stop it here because I know y'all love when we do like multiple recordings.